in first place. My name is Sigurður Sigurðsson, and I work as a information and technology teacher in Iceland. I'm 36 years old. I do not work for any particular school. I work for an organization that travels between schools. So I'm teaching every day in a new school in Iceland and travel the country.
Sir. Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing great. How about you?
I am fine. My name is Sahiti, a 6th grader. I would like to ask a question. How long is a school day in Iceland?
The school day is quite different between kids. The normal school day starts at around 8 o'clock in the morning and could end at 2 o'clock, so 6 hours, and could be around 5 o'clock for like 10-hour day, 9-hour day. So it's different between both teachers and schools and what activities are done there. So it's around 6 to 9 hours.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How about
I am fine, sir. Thank you, sir. This is Subramanian Srinivas, a 7th grade student. Would you mind allow me to ask a question, sir?
Yes.
What is weather like in Iceland?
Usually the weather is temperature, for like example, in summertime, we don't get lots of heat. It's like a good summer day is around 10 to 15 degrees, sometimes windy. In the winter time, it's not get very cold. For example, it gets like -5 degrees, but not more colder. Even though it's colder here today, it's -10 degrees now. So centigrades, of course. So the weather is often quite windy, but also, yeah, that's the weather in Iceland.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am fine, sir. This is Husniya, a 6th grader. I would like to ask you a question, sir.
Yep.
Is Iceland experiencing global warming impact?
Yes, we are experiencing the effects of global warming. First of all, we can see that in our glaciers, they are shrinking every year. And when the glaciers shrink, we get a lot of like water consumption, and the rivers get bigger, and it can be very catastrophic. We're also seeing more extremes in the weather, like more storms, more rainfall and stuff like, and more extreme heat compared to what we used to. So every extreme, both colder and hotter on days.
Thank you very much, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm fine, sir. This is Sai Surya. I'm a 7th grade. I would like to pose a question. Can I pose?
Yep.
What are the 5 interesting facts about Iceland?
Interesting about Iceland, thank you. Probably the most interesting facts about Iceland is the country is quite, like the land is quite big. The island itself is quite big, around 100,000 square meters, which makes it one of the largest islands in the world. But compared to that, there are very few people who live here in the middle of the Atlantic. We are around 370,000, not millions, thousand people. So big, much space, but very few people. That's probably the most interesting fact about Iceland. And it's also a very young country. It was first settled in the 9th century, 800 and something. So the history is not very long. So it was settled first in the Middle Ages.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am also fine, sir. My name is Telipia. I am studying 7th grade. My hobbies are reading books, playing games, and watching TV. My life ambition is to become a software engineer. Can I ask one question, sir? What kind of technology do you use in your classroom?
What I mostly use are, of course, projectors and slides, and also tablets like iPads and Chromebooks. That's the main technology, and I'm also been experimenting with virtual reality goggles and stuff like that. But that's the main technology I use in my classrooms.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. How about you?
I am also fine, sir. This is Radhika Priya, a 6th grader. I would like to ask you a question, sir.
Yep.
What food do people in your country eat?
The main food here is meat, like lamb or basically lamb or sheep, and of course many fish, like cod especially. So, and of course we have like root vegetables like potatoes and stuff like that. So it's mainly meat and root vegetable with, and of course fish.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am also fine, sir. This is Durga Sai, a 6th grader. I would like to ask you a question, sir.
Yep.
What subject are teaching at your school?
Yeah, my subject is online citizenship, or digital citizenship, and mainly about how to behave online. The world, like I teach technology, how to behave online, and how to be a good digital citizen.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am fine, sir. This is Masood, a 7th grader. I would like to ask a question, sir.
Yep.
Which schools are popular in Iceland? Which public or private?
Most schools in Iceland are public, and therefore most popular, but we have few private schools, and when the private schools are very limited, they are for certain ages, religion, and things like that. There are no big public schools in Iceland, private schools, I mean, sorry, but the most popular are the public schools, and mainly in the capital area where the most people live.
Yes. So Sigur, I have some questions.
Yep.
Baby names in your country are a bit complicated affair. So in order to give a newborn baby, a new name, it should be registered as per the government, the local government rules. So how complicated it is to name a newborn baby in your country?
It's not really complicated, but we don't have surnames like most countries in the world have. If you can see my name on the screens, it's basically me. My name is Sigurður, and I'm the son, like the last part of my last name. I'm son of Sigurður. So we take the name of our fathers or my mothers, and so my father's last name is not the same as my last name. So as you can see, but we can't, like there's a list of approved name by the Icelandic government or the committee, the naming committee. And if you want to use original name, you have to go to a process where it's either denied or approved. And it has to adhere to certain rules. So if you want to be creative, it can be very hard to name your kid a creative name. And I see the most, like it has to be traditional Icelandic name or related to Iceland somehow. So most names I see here on the screen would be illegal in Icelandic to name that child if you would be born in Iceland.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your elaborate answer. See, 90% of Iceland energy resources come from the renewable resources. So
Yeah.
you are I think, as per my knowledge, you are the one of the European countries where 90% of energy is coming from renewable resources. Could you please talk about that fact?
Yeah, what we actually the area in Iceland, we're quite lucky because we're also a very volcanic island, but because the earth, many areas of the earth is quite hot in Iceland. Lots of water underground can even reach 100 degrees and 60 to 100 degrees. So we have a lot of energy stuff that the energy power plant, I mean, which are used as the hot water to make and to use the heat of the water to make the energy that heats the houses all around the country. It's not everywhere in Iceland, but like you said, 90%. And this is not, it's mainly sustainable, but as you know, water isn't, if you just use water inefficiently, it can be unsustainable, but there's a lot of rules on how to use the water and not use it all at once.
Yes, thank you. Here is an interesting thing about your country, that in your country, the women are treated as on par the men. It's a bit strange for me. Most of the Iceland women are business owners. Would you mind telling something about the women entrepreneurship and the women empowerment in your country?
Yeah, it's actually for the last maybe 40 years. It's a relatively new thing, but last 40 years, there's been a very big movement about women equality. And like my generation and my generation, the generation before me is probably the first like who focused on women empowerment, and of course, therefore, they started to found their own companies. There's a lot of grants for women in business, and we are not perfect, but there's a lot of innovation which is led by women these days here in Iceland, like technology companies, technology startups, and so forth.
Thank you. And another interesting and incredible fact about your country is, in this technology era, most of the people in this world like to watch the television, and that means whenever they feel free, when during their leisure time, they would like to watch the TV sets, and they would like to chat using the phones and all these things, that means electronic gadgets. But in your country, unlike the other countries in the world, is a bit different. Most of the people living in your country are the book lovers, and they would like to present the other neighbors or the relatives on the day of Christmas with the books, and the festivals you present with the books. So it looks like a good and healthy tradition as far as my knowledge is concerned, because book reading is one of the thing that is slowly dwindling these days, and because of the technology revolution in this 21st century. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, what we have, because like I said, Icelandic is a very small language, like very few people, and we speak our own language. Over the years, there's been lots of tradition that basically everybody writes their own book. So We are a literature nation in that way, and like over the Christmas time, which is happening now, there's a lot of tradition. Like book giving is one of the most primary source of gift giving. So you give somebody a book so they can read. So that's maybe probably and the story culture, telling somebody a story, is a big part of Icelandic culture, because in the olden days when we didn't have much light and when the sun didn't come out, the people entertain each other with stories. So stories are a big part of the Icelandic culture, and it's cheaper because, like I said, it's cheaper to write a book than produce a television show, basically.
Yes, absolutely. I do agree with you. And another interesting fact about your country is free from mosquito bite. That means no more mosquitoes in your country. It's a bit strange for me. In India, I think everywhere you can see the flies and the mosquitoes. Mosquito is the biggest threat in my country. Because of mosquito bite, many people are actually really hospitalizing and getting a lot of health related issues. Would you like to talk about that mosquito-free country?
Yeah, mosquito-free country. Actually, I think Iceland is one of the few countries that mosquito hasn't colonized over the world. But I don't really know why not, because I think it's the combination of the mixture of heat, because one day we can have 10 degrees centigrade, a few hours later we can have -3, and again 10 few hours later. So the temperature is always going up and down. And of course, it's also the humidity in Iceland is quite low compared to everywhere else in the world. So that's probably the reason why mosquito hasn't been able to colonize, even though experts says that it's only a matter of time when the mosquito can, because of global warming, can be in Iceland in 5 to 50 years or maybe.
Okay, that's really interesting. And another interesting fact, fascinating fact about your country is your country people believe in the supernatural creatures like elves. So would you like to give us a little information about the belief that your people have in the supernatural creatures?
In the old days, like I said, there were a lot of belief in the power of nature. Every religion in Iceland is originated from some nature phenomenon. Like I said, in the olden days, we didn't have electric lights. There was a lot of darkness. So people often saw in the corner of the mind something and couldn't explain something, and lived in darkness for many hours each day. So you can imagine, your imagination can get quite wild then. But like it's called the hidden people that lure kids and the young men and women into their kingdoms, never to be seen again. And there's also trolls and things like that. And of course the old religion, which is Ásatrú, like in the movie Thor, which was our old gods, the Marvel movie Thor. So there's a lot of religious aspects in Iceland, which has maybe, what you call it, developed, because Iceland used to be very isolated place. So we got our little bit our own religion in blend with Christianity and stuff like that.
Yes. So it is also another interesting fact is that the country is the only country in the European continent without any army, because you don't have any own army, military and personnel and to safeguard your country territories. So you mean that your country is one of the, I think, as per my knowledge, I think the safest country in the world, one of the safest countries in the world, and cleanest countries in the world. The water that is available in Iceland is the purest of the pure, I think. So would you like to tell us about the water that you drink is the purest of the pure? pure, and as well as the military, the army. Yeah, could you please?
The water, like I said, we are very lucky because I think compared to basically per capita, we have the most water available in the world. So because of the glaciers, which are in the mountain, we get a lot of clean water, and that's our blessing. But regarding army, Iceland has never had its army. We are part of NATO, which the countries split responsibility of guarding Iceland by far. But first of all, like I said, we are few people, so it doesn't matter if we have army. If somebody would attack Iceland, it would just be formality. But we also like yeah, there's many peoples, and it's actually like in our constitution that Iceland doesn't pick sides, even though we have done it so far. But technically we are not allowed. Our government is not allowed to be involved in any war. So a little bit of isolationist maybe, but if there's a world conflict, Iceland should not take a part, even though sometimes we have. But you know how it is.
So that's why your country is regarded as the safest country, your friendly country, and with everybody in the world, I think every country in the world, I think you maintain the friendly relationship. So it really hats off to your policy.
And maybe one point, we don't have any border friction because we're an island, and closest country is 1,000 kilometers away. So
yeah. So now we are so eager to witness your outside weather, because whenever we hear the word your country Iceland, the weather full of volcanoes, glaciers, and whatnot, the scenic beauties. So you are so lucky to be there and to experience these all natural phenomena. And Northern Lights is one of my favorite phenomena. So how frequently you watch the Northern Lights in your country?
We can see them a few times a year in the capital. There's like around this time of year, from like maybe October, November to March, April. They're very prominent. So it's basically, that's when it's dark. It has to be dark when to see the Northern Lights. So, but it's maybe 10, 15 times a year, you can easily see them.
Oh, great. Yeah. Could you please take us outside tour?
You're actually very lucky because it's been snowing. Sometimes it doesn't snow. So step outside a little bit.
Yes.
And maybe you can.
Yes, students, please pay your attention, and our guest teacher is about to take us outside. You can see now the outside weather of a beautiful country, Iceland. Yes.
We are in I live in the city center of Reykjavik, so hopefully I can see something.
Yes. Yes.
There's people around because it's so extremely cold today. So you can see.
Yeah. So what's the temperature now? What's the weather like right now in your region?
It's unseasonably cold. It's like it's been around. It's actually not very windy, but it's like -8 degrees Celsius, -10, and it's been extremely cold for the last 2 days.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's not many usually this time of year. There's so many people here, but mainly tourists now.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for giving us a virtual tour. The sky is, I think, is very clear.
Yeah, it's usually a bit more worse if the sky wasn't clear.
Yes, yes. Normally, I think the weather is a bit unpredictable. Is it not unpredictable?
It's very unpredictable. It can be like this, very still, and 1 hour later it can be stormy, and so forth. So you can never know.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for our virtual tour. So Vijay sir, would you like to ask a question?
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Hi.
So,
Hello, sir.
Sigur,
First of all,
we have a friend
this is-
actually. He's one of my friends, and he's also a teacher working in
Okay.
another part of my country, Himachal Pradesh. Yes.
This is a formal greeting from India. Namaskar.
Hello.
Hello. This is a formal greeting from India. Namaskar. In this structure, we greetings the others. Put together hand and say namaste. So it's I am in north side of the India, and Hari sir in the south side. So this
Okay.
is totally opposite, and I am wearing a sweater. Here is temperature is around 15 degrees Celsius.
Yes.
So
I would be
there-
in a t-shirt in 15 degrees.
oh, it's we feel some part of other 200 kilometer from my place, the
Mhm.
temperature below 0 degrees Celsius. Sometimes some reason is there where temperature is below 20 degrees Celsius sometime.
Mm.
This
Wow.
is north, extreme north, and it's near neighboring state, neighboring country, China. So
Mm.
the border is at Himalayan regions there.
Yes.
You know,
Sigur, yes.
the Great Himalaya.
Yeah,
So-
Sigur, in India, I think we have extreme weather conditions. In northern part, extreme cold. In southern part, extreme heat, and
Yeah.
so windy. And it's almost all kinds of weathers are seen in India. That's why India is called a subcontinent. So whatever the features that a continent has, India has. That's why we call it a subcontinent.
Yeah.
So very extreme weather conditions you can experience. He's my fellow Indian and who is living in northern part, and he experienced really cold weather in this part of India. And whereas in my region, I think I experience almost heat weather conditions here when it comes to the summer. So it's different climatic regions in India. So Vijay sir, do you have any specific question to be asked? Because we have 8 minutes time is left in this session.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
I would like to ask only one question. Of which subject you teach?
Yeah, I teach basically. It's can be. I don't know if you have this subject in India. It's like life skills is the main subject, and my focus is on the online world, how to behave online, how to use the technology online for teaching and to learn and so forth. So that's my main focus. It's relatively, as you can imagine, new subject, but I'm teaching that through my organization, and I'm also studying at the same time in the university on all the new technology and so forth.
Okay, Sigur. Sigur, actually, what kind of job opportunities are there for the young generation in your country?
Job opportunities for there are also always opportunity in the service industry and the fisheries, but what the big thing now is the technology industry. There's a big governmental like getting to enlarge the technology business in Iceland, so like engineering, programming, and so forth. There is a lot of things going on about that right now. So I would say that's the focus: tourism and technology, basically.
So what do most of your students would like to become when they grow up? In India, most of the students, they would like to become a software engineers. After becoming software engineers, they would like to fly to the different countries just to fancy their chances. So would you think that your students, the citizens that are part of your country, would like to choose a particular profession, or they have their own ideas in their mind?
I don't really know, but because I think in Iceland we're most focused on Europe, but there's always an opportunity, and if there is an Indian embassy here in Iceland. If they would advertise, somebody would jump on a chance.
Yes. So students, do we have any questions? Because time is ticking, only 5 minutes time is left. And before I request our guest teacher to give a message to us, would any one of you like to ask a question? Even from my colleague from Himachal Pradesh, also the students can ask the question, because here is a time is ticking. Can anybody ask the question? Yes. So,
Can I?
yes, Sneha.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, I want to ask a question that what type of festivals you celebrate in Iceland?
Yeah, we have the type of festivals right now around this time of year is Christmas, or the Midwinter Festival, which is also big. We have a summer festival called Culture Night, which is a large festival where culture is in the forefront, and lots of artistic stuff going on all around city. And we have our Independence Day, which is 17th of June, which is celebrated all around the country. It's the main festivals here.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sigur. And before we end this session, could you please give a final message to my students, and as well as the students of my colleague way back in Himachal Pradesh?
Yeah, like usual, my final message is, like I'd say, every kid who I come in contact with, don't be afraid to be curious, know about the world, and we will make how we make the world a better place is get to know each other and know all around the world, and break down barriers to fight our differences. Every person on earth is always just trying to do their best, so we should also try to do our best.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.